Welcome to the Health and Wellness Marketplace. Here's your host, Laura Lewis.
Hello and welcome to the Health and Wellness Marketplace. I'm your host, Laura Lewis. We have a great show for you today. Before we get started, though, I want to encourage you to visit our website, thehealthandwellnessmarketplace.com. Here you can learn about the show, our guests, and the products we feature in the marketplace. And there is also a Contact Us link that you can use to give us your feedback or submit questions that you would like us to answer on the show. Now, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. Today we're going to be talking about just that, food as medicine. Joining me today is a leader in the farming and fishing industry and owner of the Seagate company, Richard Lentz. Richard, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Laura.
Now, Richard, tell me a little bit. It's so funny, farming, fishing, one leading to the other, but you tell us a little bit about the farming industry, about you and your farming industry. I believe you brought us a photo here of the farm.
Well, you've asked me in the past, we have the omega-3s for, dysfunctional personalities, and that's a double personality, which is something that I need because we never can figure out, are we fishing or farming or processing or what? But it makes sense in the end because the fishing and the farming all supply the plant, and the plant processes the finished products. So that's just one of the sources of raw materials. And that's what we've become known as our own supplier of our key raw materials. So,
well, let's take a look at the farm, down on the farm here.
Yeah, this is, again, a farm down in Baja, California, and we have 2 locations now. That's tomatoes growing, and this is really a show that's about garlic, but that's as close as I can get because we didn't have garlic growing before the show. It wasn't the time of the year. And also, garlic really doesn't show up very well because it's kind of like carrots where they're hiding down in the ground.
Oh, okay, so it wouldn't be very pretty.
No,
so we're looking at the prettier plants.
But I will promise, I'll bring a garlic picture as soon as we get our garlic growing
Okay,
again.
well, that would be very interesting. Okay, now garlic, that's the subject of our show today. And starting out, I believe that you have brought in a study relative to it being antimicrobial.
Yeah, that word is kind of all-inclusive when we say microbial, whether it's fungi or bacteria or yeasts or protozoas, whatever it is. Garlic is probably the oldest natural health food product that's been used for not hundreds but thousands of years.
Thousands of years in many cultures. It says here the antimicrobial effects of garlic, ginger, carrot, and turmeric paste against E. coli were investigated. Fresh garlic paste showed the strongest level of antimicrobial activity with complete inactivation of E. coli, and that comes from, what is that, foodborne?
Pathogenesis. I can't remember that article. Yeah, 2005.
2005. That's very impressive, especially with these stubborn E. coli. It's bad news.
Yeah, the only thing that we've made naturally that we've been able to kill E. coli with was the olive leaf extract and the olive leaf nasal and throat sprays.
Okay.
That's a tough one. And then, of course, you're using it against products, here they were using it even against a carrot, and I don't know what carrot they were using because normally carrots are also very resistant and antimicrobial because they survive, just like the garlic, they're underground. They're growing in an environment where they're not just being attacked, but they're living in an environment of microbes.
Okay. Well, what is the antimicrobial component of garlicin?
Of garlic?
Is it something called, I've heard of allicin before. Is allicin the only component? What is that?
Allicin, they have some of these mass market brands will have an allicin or alanine index and try to say that, if you have 6 milligrams per capsule or 10 milligrams per capsule, that's the marker for antimicrobial activity or antibacterial activity. Whereas what we're trying to do is say that there's no one single component. There's like 7 organosulfur compounds in garlic that each one individually or working together.
They all work together synergistically.
Yeah, and we're not trying to pump up the number of any one level by excluding or extracting the others. We're not making a garlic extract. What we're doing is taking whole garlic, grinding them up, putting them in our freeze dryer, and making a whole garlic concentration. Whatever was in there, I'm assuming nature made it right, and that we're not trying to pre-guess and say that this one component is the compound in garlic that is antimicrobial, antibacterial. I don't think you can say that, and I don't think you can separate them either.
Right, exactly. Well, we're going to take a break, but when we get back, let's talk a little bit more about garlic and heart disease and a few more things, okay? Okay, we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Health and Wellness Marketplace, talking with Richard Lentz of Seagate, and also about garlic. Now, I love your point, Richard, because it is all about the whole plant, how it can be beneficial for your health as a whole instead of separating it out. Even though you said individual components such as allicin, which we hear a lot of that buzzy thing going around about garlic, but you're saying everything together. I mean, there's some really great components in there all at once that will help the body in many ways, such as antimicrobial, but also it can help heart disease. I believe you brought in a study relative to garlic and heart disease.
Exactly. Well, risk factors for cardiovascular disease include high cholesterol, high homocysteine, hypertension, and inflammation. They increase the risk of dementia, including its most common form, Alzheimer's disease. Oxidative damage is a major factor in cardiovascular disease and dementia, diseases whose risk increase with age. Garlic extracted and aged may help reduce the risk of these diseases. Now, remember going back to that allicin and alanine, one of the markers for, I think it was allicin, I mean, we don't separate it, so I don't remember, but have you ever bought a garlic extract pill in the United States from one of these mass marketplaces, and you open it up and you can't smell this garlic?
That's called, didn't they deodorize it?
Deodorize or whatever, and one of the markers for those compounds of allicin is the smell. That's where garlic gets its smell from. And I'm not trying to deodorize it, and that's the reason why when we produce it in our own plant, we can't sell it in a capsule separately because the smell actually, and this is a plant where we process some really strong seafood products like shark cartilage and shark liver oil from shark livers. These will blow you out. But if when we're processing garlic, even the people that have been working in there we have people working in there for over 15 years, they have a very difficult time being in the plant when we're processing garlic.
Because it's high sulfur compounds in garlic, right?
Oh, yeah, it's extremely, 7 sulfur compounds. And so that's the reason why people ask, how come you combine it with carrot powder? And the reason being, well, two, is one, smell. The carrot powder almost acts like baking soda to help absorb the smell.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if you opened the bottle up, it would knock you out of the room. And number two, those are good products for keeping together because they're both immune stimulants and antimicrobials. And so that's why we get this combination product.
And I believe you have one more graphic relative to this particular subject about cardiovascular health.
Yeah, Journal of Nutrition, 2006. Short-term use of garlic has demonstrated an increased resistance to oxidation of LDL cholesterol, which may be one of the mechanisms that accounts for the beneficial effects of garlic in cardiovascular health. Now, I've been reading up on this one because I'm not an expert in cardiovascular disease, and there are these 3 items that we can't control that are very important factors in cardiovascular disease risk. One is being a male, 2 is age, and 3 is smoking. Those are 3 things that we absolutely can't control. But things that you can control are things like diabetes, obesity, lack of physical exercise, and also the foods that we're eating. And so what we're saying is if you can eat more garlic, do more exercise, stop smoking, if you are heading towards losing control of your blood sugar, there are supplements that you can take, or before it gets to the point where you need to be on a pill, you can control sugar levels in your blood by just cutting back on those sweets and on the breads and everything. So those are the factors. And then there was an article I read on the plane coming over here. They interviewed people that were they had a name for them, like octogenarians, but these are people that were that
live a long time. Okay.
110 years old, and a fellow wrote a book about them. He interviewed them, and he found out that one of the things that they're doing these are people that survived heart disease, that didn't have dementia, is none of them smoked. They also had a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. You had no packaged foods in their homes. They got up at the beginning of the day and they had a purpose. They were going to do some job that was keeping their minds fixed. They weren't going to just get up and start moaning about their grandsons not visiting them.
Sure.
They were also doing exercise. At that age, you're not going to be able to jog, but you can get up out of bed and walk and do some chores around the house. And these are also people that, you say, well, they had good genes, but not a single one of them had a family member, a parent that had lived beyond 80 years old. So, you look at a group like this and with heart disease, there are enough factors that are within our control. And sure, age is one that we can't, and being born a male, because generally men develop heart disease 15 years earlier on average than women do. But there's a lot of things that we can do. And one of them, as far as eating fruits and vegetables, is let's start eating some more garlic.
Some garlic. And so you can use garlic as an immune booster as well. Is that correct? I mean, I believe that you brought in another study here.
Aged garlic is used as a major component of non-prescription cold prevention medicines. A group of advanced cancer patients administered aged garlic extract showed a significant increase in natural killer cells activity and natural killer cell numbers with no adverse side effects. Remember, we did a show on beta-glucans doing the exact same thing.
Exactly.
And there's no, one natural component of any plant that we've mentioned that is better or preferred. We're just saying that there's a lot of ways to arrive at the same effect, which is boosting the immune system, helping those natural killer cells. Those are the white blood cells, the macrophages, those Pac-Men of our immune system. Go out there and even though they're part of our immune system, they're not necessarily triggered by an infection as we get older. So garlic helps to trigger that mechanism.
Well, I think it's also all about having an arsenal. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about garlic and also perhaps how it might be used in cancer and that type of thing. But also relative to, should we be taking it on a daily basis? Is this something that we need to do? But you can answer that when we come back right after this. Welcome back, talking about garlic and your health with Richard Lentz of Seagate. Okay, Richard, so what came to my mind before the break was all about the fact that you really have, relative to your line of products, especially when we talked about beta-glucan, omega-3, and now we're talking about garlic, it's like creating an arsenal to help boost your immune system. And so should we include garlic in our diet or in our program every single day, just as on a preventative basis?
Oh, exactly. The health food industry, different from medicine, is we're into prevention, and hopefully you don't get that disease. I take garlic myself, 2 capsules a day, and that's probably a little bit on the low side. Mm-hmm. 1 capsule contains 400 milligrams of carrot powder and 100 milligrams of garlic. So again, I'm getting 200 milligrams. And when we process garlic, there is approximately a 20-25 to 1 ratio of the original plant weight to the dried weight. There's that
so
much
let's say, okay, so like there's a bulb of garlic, and then you've got your little capsule. How does that relate?
Yeah, the bulb of garlic, and garlic is kind of a funny thing. You have to process this garlic, and this is a prop. It's not our real garlic because we didn't have garlic growing.
Okay.
And it's very rare for us to have garlic sitting around the plant because as soon as it's out of the ground, it starts to dry up and it's going to lose its potency. We have maybe a couple of weeks from the time we get it out of the ground to really have it processed, freeze-dried, and ground into a powder.
I cook with garlic. I know what you're talking about. It's really hard sometimes to find good garlic. You never know what you're going to get at the grocery store picking it up to try to cook with it, which you also recommend as well.
Yeah, you ever notice you can sometimes pick up a garlic clove and it's light?
It's light, that's
very
right.
Light, and you can actually take those, squeeze it, and it'll turn into dust. Mm-hmm. We had that happen once where we had an extra couple of bags of garlic from the farm that we misplaced in the plant, and it was there for about 4 or 5 months, and we suddenly find it behind a bunch of pallets, and we pick it up because we were going to see, we can't, there's not enough, it would be a puddle in our freeze dryer to dry it, mm-hmm. but we can use it in our homes, just go and cook it, make some garlic bread with it. And when we picked it up and pulled it out, it crumbled in our hand, it became sawdust, literally. And that's what happens with garlic. You have to get this immediately as fresh as possible. Otherwise, and when it's fresh as possible, it's filled with water. You have, say, in answer to the original question, if you had maybe 1 clove of garlic was 2 ounces and you freeze dried it, you're going to come up with the equivalent of maybe 2 or 3 capsules worth of garlic after the whole drying process, because the ratio is that bad. Not quite as bad as tomatoes. Tomatoes, when we're processing them, you take 100 pounds of tomatoes and you lose 99% of the weight. So you have, that's why you can have actually 1 tomato is equal to 1 capsule when we're doing tomatoes. But in this case, it's about 2 to 3 capsules of garlic.
Okay, very good. Now, what about garlic and cancer? I believe you've brought in another study relative to this.
That one was a surprise. I didn't know that that effect was there. The results suggest aged garlic extract and its constituents suppress the progression of colorectal cancers in humans. Aged garlic has multiple pathways to reduce cancer incidence and suppress its growth. What I think is going on when I read that article is that they're attributing this to garlic being almost like a vacuum scavenger, a vacuum machine for oxidative molecules. And colorectal cancer is subject to all the junk that comes out of our body. You know, most people don't go in for colonoscopies. I had my first one last year, and I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
But you know, when you get over 50, you need to do that every 5 or 10 years. By the time, I think the statistics show that 45% of us that should have, or 55% that should have had it, don't get it, and 45% of the people that get diagnosed, it's too late to save them because the disease has progressed that far. So, as another preventative, what that journal is saying, if you can take garlic on a regular basis, and this is why a supplement is important, because unlike maybe tomatoes, if you're really a salad fanatic, you're going to cut up tomatoes every day and have a tomato or put a tomato on a sandwich. How many uses can you have for eating raw garlic every day?
Right. I mean, you don't want to put in your eggs every morning. You might not have a whole lot of friends, but or you better be sure that the folks around you are all. But you know, there are cultures though that they use a lot more garlic than other. Like I don't believe that as a whole that Americans in general, we don't really use it as much. And so there's more in Italian, Italy. What about Asian countries as well?
There's a lot of garlic cooking.
More likely to use that. But you know, I'm a big fan of roasted garlic. It's wonderful, fabulous. But yeah, so you're recommending though to have garlic on a daily basis.
And the only way. Yeah, the only way you're going to get it is in a capsule.
Through capsules, yeah. Exactly. We have, you know, there's many ways that I was saying to get garlic in your diet, including taking the capsules, but this viewer was wondering about the best way. Let's take a look.
I take a garlic capsule. Should I be taking it with food?
Oh, yeah. You see, you never know, because sometimes with supplements, they say take it with food, without food. What's the best thing for garlic?
That's really dependent on the person themselves. If you're getting garlic repeating, I take it in the morning around 5:30 in the morning after I come back from a run, believe it or not. I'm really into this right now, and I don't want to stop. I'm waking up at 4, and I'm out the door at 5, and I'm back in at 5:30. Then I take my vitamins and supplements. Garlic is one of them, and by the time I eat breakfast, it's about an hour later. And I don't have that problem of repeating the gas of garlic coming up. But I think there's going to be a fair percentage of people that will have that, so it would be recommended for most people to take it together with a meal.
Together with a meal.
Yeah.
But you're being pretty, I hate to say it, but hardcore about the fact that you're just getting the supplements in there to have maximum absorption. Is that what you're doing?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. So you're like, your body's ready, you're running, your metabolism is going, but that is not for everybody. I mean, even myself, I have a little bit of difficulty with just even taking a little bit of omega-3 sometimes on empty stomach, so I want to have it with food. So some people might be more inclined to be more comfortable with garlic together with food.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I'm also into trying to slow down the hands of time.
Sure.
And what I'm doing now in my early 50s is going to affect whether or not I'm going to be sitting in a wheelchair at 75, 80.
That's right. It's all about quality of life.
Exactly. You know, our average age is increasing, but what they're not saying is the quality of life at 80, whether you're sitting in a wheelchair in a nursing home or whether you're still, like, I just read an article also on the airplane that there's a president of the company. He was the founder of, I'm trying to remember the name of the company in San Diego. It's a publicly traded company. They make elevators and other things. He's 90 years old, and he said in the article, in the interview, that what he does every day is just like those 110-year-olds. He's eating fresh vegetables. He can't jog every day, but he walks, he plays golf. And they asked him, how come he's still working at 90 years old? And I guess his wife had long since died. And he said, well, it's very stimulating, and what else am I going to do? Sit around the house, read a newspaper, and watch TV.
Yeah.
And it makes, and that's, I can't imagine not working, although it would be nice. My wife says, well, get a life, you got to do something else. But I do other things, but I'm also thinking that as my cohorts at 54 years old, that I see my kids' friends, fathers, are coming down with diabetes and arthritis and this and that I'm trying to work on the things that I can control: exercise and nutrition, and not smoking and not taking alcohol.
Right. We've got to go to a break. It's all about quality of life. When we come back, more with Richard Lentz right after this.
Welcome to the world of Seagate, fishing company, organic farmer, and health food processor. The raw materials that are processed in our plant come from Seagate's organic farming and fishing operations. Seagate cannot improve upon nature. However, we can concentrate these valuable nutrients into quality products that are beneficial to your health and reasonably priced. Carrots and garlic combines beta-carotene with garlic's antimicrobial nutrients and support against heart disease. Olive leaf extract, antimicrobial support without the side effects of pharmaceuticals. Shark liver oil, rich in omega-3s, essential for maintaining a healthy heart. Grapeseed extract, a powerful antioxidant promoting blood vessel elasticity. Seagate broccoli capsules, a convenient part of your daily anti-cancer diet. For more information on Seagate, call 1-888-505-GATE, or please ask your local health food store to call us.
Welcome back. We're talking about garlic with Richard Lentz and its health effects. Really, truly, it's about, you are in line with the way I believe as well. I want to live a long life, I truly do, but I want to live a long and healthy life, have a little sparkle in my eye, and be moving around and doing fun and great, wonderful things, including loving others and being busy mentally and physically. And one of the ways you could do that, Richard, as you say, is having this arsenal, which includes garlic to help boost your immune system. Now, relative to garlic itself, is it also antifungal, which fungus can be a big problem?
Well, we can't say that as a company, but there are studies by the World Health Organization, WHO, that says it's antifungal. We had a graphic on the screen that it's antibacterial, kills all sorts of microbes. The best source, just look on the web and you're going to find that's probably the most written about herb that's out there, and the oldest used one by mankind.
Yeah, and it tastes good too. I love it. I'm crazy about garlic. What about some of your other? We talked about the arsenal that you've created against it. We'll fight against all these, and to make the point again, because we have folks at home, they're sitting there going, well, it's just nature. Why do I need to have these things to fight? My body should be healthy enough, but we need to help our body, and you've developed some other antimicrobial products as well that are in your line.
Well, we need to help it because we're not getting the same nutrition that we used to get from 50, 100 years ago. Other products, and we weren't doing this just because they were antimicrobial. We were processing these products because the raw materials were readily available in our area, or because we could farm them or fish them ourselves. The olive leaves, we didn't own all the olive trees, but the olive trees were available. So we were able to make olive leaf extract, concentrate it into a powder, and make capsules out of it. Then we made one more step further. Instead of making it just a plain capsule, we made it even more user-friendly and made an earache remedy, a throat spray, a nasal spray, which we've tested in labs, and they're all extremely antimicrobial. And we also have the carrot, which is also antimicrobial, and broccoli, which is probably one of the toughest ones. There's H. pylori bacteria, which is a precursor to stomach cancer, which broccoli will kill. But what you're hearing is there's so many natural ways of killing bacteria, but they're all coming from plant sources.
Which you're bringing it all. Thank you so much, Richard. Love it. I love it when you're here.
Thank you.
And I look forward to next time having you on. That's all the time we have today, folks, on the show. But if you would like to know more about Seagate and all of their amazing products they offer, you can call 888-505-GATE or 4283 or visit their website at seagateproducts.com. Richard, thanks again for stopping by the Health and Wellness Marketplace, and thanks to all of you at home for visiting the market as well. We're open again tomorrow at the same time, same place, so be sure to tune in. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. I'm Laura Lewis. See you next time on the Health and Wellness Marketplace. Have a wonderful day.